In a previous Red River Horror episode, we asked, what does Scream mean to you? Well, now with Scream 6 out streaming on Paramount Plus, we are going to discuss the entire Scream franchise and we are going to rank them. This is episode number 95 of the Red River Horror Podcast. Sit back, relax, and go down those channels of fear. Welcome back to the Red River Horror Podcast. I'm your host, Joe Zakrzewski. This is episode number 95. I am joined, as always, by RedRiverHorror.com founder, Eddie Caiazzo. Hi, Ed. How are you?
Joe, I'm doing fantastic, man. We're talking about one of my favorite things in all of horror, so I'm doing great, brother. How are you?
I'm doing pretty fantastic today, so I'm excited to talk about it. I was late to the Scream 6 game, so I finally got around to Paramount Plus watching Scream 6. And you know, also seeing news that Jenna Ortega is going to be in Beetlejuice 2.
Oh,
so
that's
she'll
right.
play Winona Ryder's daughter in that. I mean, Jenna Ortega just killing it everywhere.
I mean, I think we've said it a bunch of times already this year, but I mean, she is like on fire in the horror space.
Yeah, and just playing
different. 20?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So
good for her, man.
Yeah, good for her, and she's good at what she does. You know, except for the one thing that was a little cringe is when Which Awards show her and Aubrey Plaza came out, and like Aubrey Plaza has her shtick, and then they tried to have like Jenna Ortega act like she has the same shtick because she played Wednesday Addams, but she's much, I don't know, shows a little more of a diverse range. Yeah, compared. I mean, it is what it is.
It isn't the Jenna Ortega show. It's the Scream show.
Yeah, I like both of them. So, yeah, it is. So, it's the Scream show. We're going to get into this. One of the things that I've been having some difficulty with, especially, you know, when we had the episode, What Does Scream Mean to You? If you've ever heard me speak about Scream, I always go right to how the first one's just a great horror movie on its own. And then the second one is what it is. And it's just completely self-aware.
Yep.
And so it pokes fun at that. And I don't know how to really get into the depths of this. Other than I can tell you that I was not the biggest fan of 5 and 6.
Okay.
I you know, who am I? I'm a podcaster, so I'm going to state my opinion.
Absolutely.
I think with just some incredible talent in those casts, really, really poorly directed.
Okay.
And maybe poorly written. I don't know if I'm going to go after the writing so bad, but definitely poorly directed.
Okay.
I think the directing behind it really killed what could have been with those two.
All right. No, I mean, hey, I might as well start it from right off the bat. At least we know where you are.
I'm coming in with fire, and it seems to be like I'm just like Mr. Negative all of a sudden because like how I treated Evil Dead Rise, and again, same thing. I think the director just really they're having a lot of fun on Twitter with this. So happy for the cast that it's a hit.
Yep,
it's great. He took A Coward's Way Out and does not deserve any credit. I mean,
what?
Yeah, the ending to that movie was so cliche.
Oh, okay.
And so, like, it's like you were given the keys, and you just do the most cliche trope ending that you could possibly think of.
I get you. So
that sucked. Dude.
Let's
like
stay
that.
On. All right.
Yeah. So
only because. All right. So Joe,
I'll end my fired up because I'll go back to Screams 5 and 6.
Yes.
Can I get this off my chest real quick?
You can. Can you hold that?
Oh, yes, I can. Sorry,
right,
I can't. I'm coming into this hot.
Damn. All right. So I just want to let people know, as you may know, Joe, because you've been a YouTube music user for a long time.
I absolutely love it.
Our podcast is now on the podcasts. So now YouTube, Google, whoever is jumping into the podcast space. Not like we didn't do this before. All of our podcasts go to YouTube, but now there's an official. So please, if you can, hit that subscribe button, hit the bell. We're there, man.
We're there. So you subscribe and bell.
So I just wanted to give a shout out to one of our newest subscribers, Crow Vision. Crow, Vizion. And he said, good vid, but you guys missed one thing.
Yes.
All right?
Yes.
In the movie, they explain that even total dismemberment doesn't work from Evil Dead Rise.
Okay, yeah, you know what? He's right.
He's right.
They're right. He or she's right.
So-
They're absolutely correct. All right. So
I just wanted to give a shout out to our new subscriber, and I just wanted to let people know that you too can subscribe. Just hit that subscribe button. We're on YouTube Music on the playlist. We made the big time, Joe.
we're in there, baby.
All right, Joe, bring the fire. Give it to me. Screen 5 and 6. Here we go.
Big thanks to them for the comment. Love that. We're begging for them. Keep them coming. So, as you know, one of my favorite shows on television right now that's currently in its second season is Yellow Jackets. One of the stars of Yellow Jackets is in Scream 5 and 6. She plays Mindy. That is Jasmine Savoy Brown, who is absolutely fantastic with her character in Yellow Jackets. I'll spare you because I really want you to watch it, and I don't want to spoil a thing.
Yeah, no, and I am going to watch it. Especially with this writer's strike, I have time.
Yeah, she's great in it, and she's very creepy. She does just a wonderful job.
Wow.
And in this movie, she's Randy's niece.
Yes.
Which is unnecessary, but also addressed. So she's just doing all the tropes where it's like, I feel like in 5 and 6 it was a little overkill. It's like, I like Scream because it's self-aware.
Yes.
And then it's like just to the max, and they have her pace of like, her lines are just, everything about it is just too quick. It doesn't gel. And I feel like there's just something there where, I don't know, it feels rushed.
That would bring into, you talked about the directing and the writing and something you might get into. So that could, if you're saying that this actress really impresses you in one show and you think her performance may be a little forced in Scream, I can understand where direction would come in.
I'll go with her. Jenna Ortega. I'll go with Jack Quaid in Scream 5. Like, it just feels like they had just a ton of talent to work with, and it used it more for billboard sales rather than, getting the best that they could.
I getcha.
Out of the talent available.
Okay.
So that's how I feel about it. So like, what you really enjoyed them though.
All right. So did you want to start our official ranking?
So here's what I'm going to do with you.
Okay.
Because, and I'm really happy, our pal Joe D'Angelo from Different Take.
Yes.
He gave us a list with some great commentary.
He did.
And Ed, I don't know if this is going to shock you. It would be annoying if I went along and just didn't say my truth. And it's literally in order from best to worst.
Wait, as they are?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
All right, guys, that was it. I hope you subscribe on YouTube.
So no. It's like, that's wrong. I literally sat and thought, I'm like, maybe you could swap 3 and 4.
Okay.
Maybe you could take 4 somewhere else. 'Cause 4 was really good. It was really good. But I am going to be the biggest defender of Scream 3, and I think it deserves to be at number 3.
Okay.
And I'm going to tell you why, because it goes back to that self-awareness. And I know some people are probably, it's like, oh, it's so like late 90s, early 2000s, like goofy. It's like, it's supposed to be.
Yes.
It's not like where H2O gets its criticism. It's mocking that. The entire way through, just like 5 and 6 are like mocking, like, oh, it's elevated horror, or you can't reboot, you have to, you can't sequel, you got to requel. Like, you can't reboot, you have to requel. So it's the exact same thing. It's got all the celebrities.
It does have all the celebrities.
It's exactly what it's supposed to be, and again, that's what we like about Scream. It's self-awareness.
Yes. All right. Wow.
I know. I didn't want to sit here and start doing like, oh, let's do them in order, and then I do them literally in order, because I feel like that would be unfair and very annoying.
Right.
That you came up and we sat here, and then I surprise you with just saying the same thing.
Okay.
In the movies in order.
Yes.
But that's why we have Joe's notes.
We do. And let me just go. So you say Scream 3 is the solid 3 in the series.
Yeah. There
was a reason. There's something that happened with Scream 3, and I'm trying to figure it out. It was released in... So this was pre 9/11. There was something...
Columbine.
Oh, right. Because I was going to say, if you noticed... something different about Scream 3, it was supposed to be different because it felt the pressure of Columbine. So the kills were like, notice the guy is blown up in the house, but you don't really see like that. Like the kills aren't really as vicious.
Nope.
For a slasher. I think that was a lot of people's charges against Scream 3, other than the payoff, like the twist. I think the main charge was that this is supposed to be a slasher movie, and nobody really got like slashed, but that was for a specific reason.
So it came off of that, and so it was released February 4th, 2000. So it's playing in the sensitivities, it's probably the lowest rated out of all of them, but everything around it, I mean, I loved everything around Scream 3. The reason why it gets so goofy, why do you have, Jay and Silent Bob in there? Why do you, it is the definitive culture movie of 1999. Like the 1999, 2000, like it's just playing on all of that with the Scream trope in it. Because Kevin Smith was just skyrocketing at that point. He's coming right off of Dogma, and then they do Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back.
And then they're in the Scream film.
And they're in the Scream film. The Scream 3 soundtrack is just out of this world. Out of this world.
Shout out to Loudwire. I just looking up Scream 3 on Google right now, 5 hours ago, is Creed's What If the best horror soundtrack song of all time.
There you go.
I'm going to have to read that later.
The music video for it.
It's a damn good song.
Everything. If this was a music podcast, we could get into that with like Creed's resurgence of popularity from like TikToks and Reels and stuff. There's a ton of those.
So so Creed's making a comeback on the 21st.
Yeah, maybe going from being like mocked to appreciated for what it was.
Okay.
It's like
I can dig.
I know you can.
Yeah. No, I'm saying I'm glad, because I never thought it was fair. I understand the commercial era, and I understand they were so massive, so many people hated them because of that. But they are a lot more talented than that commercial era.
Absolutely.
You have to put yourself back in the time, just like with some of these movies, which we'll get into. You have to put yourself back in the time. When My Own Prison came out in 96, it went big commercially in 97. Like, that was pretty rough. That rocked pretty hard.
Oh, yeah. H2O. That's what it was. So, like, Creed getting in the horror movies, I don't think that... We got to look if Human Clay has any... I don't think Human Clay has anything.
What If?
Oh, crap. Yeah.
It's the second track.
That's right. I always get confused. Like, I always think, like, Weathered is older than it actually was.
Yeah.
So it's Weathered would be the one that doesn't have anything. That's right. So track 2 on Human Clay, What If?
Yeah, man.
Which just is a banger. Very heavy song.
That was at the... Again, you got to put... I understand there is... And you've experienced much, much heavier stuff. Some not even radio-friendly stuff, but some commercially big stuff. That rocked hard back in the day. It just did.
It did. And because... I mean, dude, I could go... American Pearl?
Yes!
That song... Dope Debonair's on there.
Saliva, right?
Oh my God. We could go. Incubus is on there. Slipknot's on there.
Stained,
Orgy. It's a loaded soundtrack, and I believe it is produced by Creed, because there's a second track that's not on any album. That's the last track. That's by Creed. So I think they were starting their label, and I guess that's the...
It was called Is This the End?
Yeah.
It's a great song.
Yeah, it's a great soundtrack, and that's why Scream 3 remains a solid 3 in the franchise for me. And it's like, you can't base it... It's like, yes, I can, because the movie's self-aware, and it's everything... It has to be everything around it.
Yes.
That's what it was. It was a commercial. It was a Big Mac of just fast food in your face. It's good. Eat it up.
All right.
So
I love the passion for Scream 3, man. I really do. But I'm glad you already brought up our friend Joe D from Different Take.
Got it.
He's spending some time out there in Woodsboro, California. So he sent us some notes, and I think we're gonna do a live, maybe watch along one of these newer Scream films with our good buddy Joe.
I guess there'll be more in the Jenna Ortega. I guess they'll go full trilogy, right?
Yeah, that's already greenlighted.
Yeah.
They cleaned up at the box office.
Blumhouse is doing all these?
No, this is Paramount and
Paramount.
Spyglass.
Okay, cool. So the people who are on the, like... What did he grab that I'm just like, Jesus Christ, stop it?
Oh, Blumhouse.
I texted you about it too. Well, anyway.
Yeah. So
let's get back to it. So let's start with let's go from, bottom to top. So
bottom to top.
I'll read Joe's notes.
Okay.
And his picks. You already know what mine is. So the bottom is Scream 6.
You want to know something funny, Joe?
It was a rough watch for me. Yeah.
Oh, go ahead. No, please. Actually finish.
It just felt laborious. It's just like, oh God. Like, the self-awareness part's good. It just overdid it on it's like you got it. Stop.
Right.
Like, put something else together. And there is an attempt there to shake up the killer surprise.
Mm-hmm.
And it's still a little underwhelming. Why Hayden Panettiere is acting all weird the entire movie, I don't know. Again, I'm going to go back to the same directors who did 5 and 6.
Mm-hmm.
Change those for the third one, please.
Okay. I don't know.
I think they got the reins.
It's all right. So Scream 6 is at the bottom for you.
Yep.
All right. Really quick, Joe D.
Well, I'll read Joe's.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
So you do yours. I'll do Joe's because I don't have my contributions.
I got you.
You know what I mean?
So we'll swap Joe's.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. So Joe, you and I are in total agreement on Scream 6.
God, I was so
It's at the very bottom for me.
So nervous about that. Look, everything about it's I like the idea. Getting out of getting it was Woodsboro.
So I'll get into why. There was no reason for the whole crew to be in New York.
None whatsoever.
The whole crew, the Woodsboro 4, or whatever the hell. Why were they all in New York?
The core 4.
Core 4. I'm sorry.
The core 4.
Core 4.
And then why do going for the reach of Jack Quaid? Like I'm just gonna space. I'm gonna say actors' names because I love Jack Quaid.
Mm-hmm.
Shout out to The Boys. Watch The Boys. It's a great show. Jack Quaid's great in it. Jack Quaid. I just got a lisp trying to say Jack Quaid real fast.
Jack Quaid.
Yeah, son of Dennis.
Is it really?
Yeah, it's Meg Ryan and Dennis Quaid's son.
Wow.
Yeah, he's awesome.
We might be talking to Dennis soon, actually.
I'll tell him his son's fucking awesome. Seriously, watch The Boys. It's great.
Okay.
Yeah, so Scream 6, it is what it is, and that's fine. It's we're not even going to touch the TV series that was on MTV.
No.
I'm just going to say what I just watched is what I imagine is what the TV series is.
So the teen series, you have to understand the MTV series that was made for an MTV audience.
Right. It's not made for me.
So the cool thing about the Scream TV series were some of the kills they were able to get away with on TV. It's not, the story's terrible, the acting's terrible. The third season is, I don't even know what the hell. Like it's very MTV, but some of the kills are cool.
It's annoying because you know what it is, and you know what I love, anthologies. So maybe someday I'll just suck it up and try it. But it's not made for a soon-to-be middle-aged man like myself.
No,
it's made for like my little cousins who enjoyed it.
So Scream 6 at the very bottom for me. Before you get to Joe's notes, one thing that really annoyed me, again, there was no reason for the core 4 to all be in New York City, and our main character, played by Melissa Barrera, who played Sam Carpenter. I get it. She's watching over her sister, Tara, who's played by Jenna Ortega. I can get why she is in New York.
I guess they're leading into Skeet Ulrich is finally going to take over, so she'll be the killer in the next one.
Maybe.
Whatever.
It didn't really work that well for me. I didn't. So just to correct something that I said before on the podcast, there was Neve Campbell couldn't come to terms with this new production company. I said that
which is fair. I mean, she is the face of the franchise, and
she is, and I really could have used her. So we're not going to go into review blow by blow of each film, but I really could have used Sidney Prescott in this because honestly, I didn't care about anybody else.
No, Sidney Prescott is Scream.
Yeah.
Sidney Prescott is the target. Admirable move to, shake it up. It kind of works. It's just as a silly thing as Scream 2.
Yep.
Scream 2 really set up the the killer vibe for just get weird about it. Maybe not even that bad. I mean, Scream 3 more than anything.
Well,
you know what? Here's another benefit to Scream 3. Only one killer instead of pairs.
There you go. The only one.
The only one.
The only one with one killer.
All by himself.
So they're trying to... I've heard other podcasts say, okay, it's time to move on from Sidney Prescott, and that's why we're going to follow Sam Carpenter is, like, her dad's Billy Loomis. Yeah. Like so they're trying to move it forward, and I understand that, but this movie didn't stand enough on its own for me. I thought the cold open was cool. I thought the cold open was really cool.
Yeah, actually you're right. Yeah,
I did enjoy that, and I said, okay, I'm ready. You know, the dating app. She goes into a dark alley, and that was a big actress too. I actually have to find her name.
Yeah, so you got to give it credit. I cannot. You have to. I'm not going to say that these were bad. Okay.
Right. Yeah.
I'm just going to say they weren't for me.
Okay.
I will always be honest. And, you know, do you want me to read Joe's notes real quick?
Yes. So both, just for if you're keeping score, Joe Z is just in order. So I'm
in order. So it's going to be 6. Next is going to be 5. It's going to gradually go from there.
I'm 6 at 6. So where's Joe D?
So Joe's doesn't surprise me at all based off of our Halloween conversations, where it's like he and a few people through like some of those horror groups that we follow are really just shitting on everything late 90s, early 2000s.
Oh yeah, they are.
So, and there you go, Scream 3. And from Joe D. Oh, what could have been? I would have loved to have seen the original script before the studio changed it due to the Columbine school shooting.
Oh.
It's actually impressive what they were able to come up with in the time that they did. Scream's worst movie is still better than some franchise's third best. It's solid, but the other movies in the franchise are just so much better. So
okay.
It's fair.
That's I actually it's a different take. I like that take.
It is a different take.
Yeah. You can subscribe to him on YouTube too.
Yes, you can. Different take.
All right.
So I mean, I think that's fair criticism of it, but I just don't see these two really standing up to the original trilogy. So at all. So, but hey, Joe likes the 90s.
Or hates the 90s. No, I'm just kidding.
Moving on. So running down our tier to 5. So you know mine's Scream 5.
Yes. Mine is Scream 3.
There you go.
At number 5.
There's Scream 3. So you would it?
It's I have to remove myself just a little bit.
Sure.
Sometime because I loved the soundtrack so much. Like, I'm not going to say better than the movie, but the soundtrack was just so important to my listening development. It was at such a crucial time.
We listened to that one a lot on our own and together.
Yes. It's so important to me. And I loved in Scream 3 that one thing that is very cool about Scream 3 that separates itself from all of them is those scenes with Sidney's mother. Yeah. They were actually really creepy. There was a the screams aren't supernatural, except now we're seeing this Sam Carpenter's Billy Loomis is her dad, and we're seeing him like, hey, what are you doing? You gonna pick up the knife? That kind of stuff. So we're seeing that now.
Sure, and it doesn't make any sense to his character whatsoever.
No, but those scenes with Sidney's mom in Scream 3 used to scare me. They really did. I enjoyed them a lot.
Well, I mean, her mom has a lot to do with it because it's her mom's affair.
Yes.
Is what makes her become a target to be murdered in the first place.
So,
you face it, your mom's no Sharon Stone.
Right. Yeah, and we find out, and I loved Lance Henriksen's character playing that, like the Harvey Weinstein type producer.
Yeah.
Like that was, you could tell that, what do they say, meta, as far as the Scream films, really making fun of the entire business. And I thought that was great. The problem I also had with it is that I didn't understand a lot of the references at the time when I saw it.
Sure.
So it's not, I'm with Joe D in that I love Scream 3. It's just up against the other films. It falls at number 5 for me.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay. Fair enough. So here we go for Joe at number 5. He now matches me with Scream 5.
Oh.
So he goes closer to 4 closer to 4 stars than 3.5 stars. Scream 5 was way better after a recent rewatch than I gave it credit for. They introduced new characters while still continuing the original story. A great way to soft reboot the franchise while still poking fun at the reboots, which is exactly what it did.
Yep.
And I can tell you this much is the one thing that I was hoping would become more of a theme rather than reboots or requels or whatever you want to call them was copycats.
Okay.
And I will tell you that's why I like Spiral a lot. So, I mean, that's
which is on Hulu, by the way. I'm going to rewatch that for the first time since we saw it in theaters.
I've watched it. So even before it went to Hulu, I've watched it probably about 4. I really liked it,
dude. That was.
I really enjoyed it almost as much as I liked the original Saw.
Wow. I mean, it was fun. It was a fun movie. I'm fun in that it was. It was just so different, the Saw movies up to that point. Anyway, we can go on and on. Spiral's on Hulu, though, right now. And I'm very excited
but
about
that's
it.
what I was hoping would be more of the trend in the horror space.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what I was hoping at.
Can you remind me,
but hey,
when we get to the end of this episode, to tell you about a copycat?
Yes.
Kill? Okay.
Please.
All right. So then we're moving on to number 4.
Even though that is like the theme of Scream for all their sequels.
Yeah.
But you know what I mean, where it would be in a different town, everything's different.
Yep.
So there we go. So Scream 5 for me, Scream 5 for Joe, and Scream 3 for you at the second to last.
Yep.
Okay. Onward. So you know what mine is? It's Scream 4.
All right. So here's a Scream 4. Mine coming in at number 4 is Scream 5.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it seems like 5 and 6, at least on our side, is relatively in the same space. They're enjoyable. They're worth watching.
Yes.
Again, I might not be the targeted audience, and I'm pretty sure it even says that in Scream 5. One of Mindy's rants, I think. I think that goes in there, which is like, you ruined my childhood or something like that.
Yeah. Yeah, she's, and it's a shame. I am looking forward to watching Yellow Jackets, but she
overkill
is
version
over the top.
Overkill Randy. It's like if you could just rein her in. Would have been perfect, and I'm telling you, when you see her in Yellow Jackets, you can see what this girl can do.
Because I don't need that, like, you know me, very well. I don't need the nudge, ha ha. Like, it's just like, I get it. Thank you. Yeah.
So, anywho, so Joe, interesting call here.
Okay,
from Joe D. Scream 2.
Whoa.
So here we go. The car scene is incredibly tense and executed so well. Randy shouldn't have been killed.
I agree totally, Joe D.
I still believe it's the biggest mistake of the franchise. Scream 2 being in the middle of this list is not an indictment on Scream 2, but more so a testament to the quality of the franchise. Again, fair. I mean,
if we were talking about, and I know we talked about it a lot, the Evil Dead weekend.
Yeah.
If you threw me into a Scream weekend, buddy, I think even after, and I will tell you, Scream 6 is the first time where I didn't really, I love the Scream movies.
Yeah.
Scream 6 was the first one where I was just like,
looking at your watch, being like, can we close this out now?
But honestly, I agree wholeheartedly with Joe D there in that this is, anything I'm saying negative is not an indictment on the series, because if you compare it to my other series that we love, know and love in the horror space, it is by far the best one. There's no question about it.
When we've discussed this in the past, even when it was only at 4 movies, I mean, we'd say, easily stronger than Friday the 13th.
Yes.
Stronger than Nightmare.
Yes.
Like, we regard Scream very highly. And that was an interesting one by Joe, that Scream 2 is far back. And I get it because Randy getting killed.
That was, that was so aggravating.
I know, but he foreshadowed it himself.
Yeah. I know. Well, coming in at number 4, Joe, for me is Scream 5.
Right. Right.
I thought that it was, the marketing really hyped me up. It's just like, hey, the killer's on this poster.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, I'm excited. the Billy Loomis thing didn't really get to me in Scream 5. It's just like, whoa. I always think that CGI thing is a little weird, like when they do it in Rogue One or whatever. But for me, I was kind of excited to see Billy back.
Okay.
And it was different. It was, I don't know. And then going back to the house, and sadly, spoiler alert, spoiler alert, spoiler alert, I felt something when Dewey died, man.
You know what? Yeah. Yeah, I feel you there. I mean, it was an interesting, lifestyle changes for Dewey, and that's the end of the Dewey story. Onward to the next step.
Yeah, so Scream 5, I know this sounds so weird. Scream 5 made me feel things that I haven't felt in a while.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like, I felt sad when Dewey died, and I felt sad for Dewey and Gail's story. It was really cool seeing Sidney Prescott not a teen anymore, now a mom, married with kids, and being just kind of like in that space again. So it's just like whoa, like this is bringing us straight to Stu Macher's house. I'm like, whoa.
Yeah.
And they pull up. So
like the same house.
It did a lot of things right because they were charged with introducing new characters and using the old characters. And that's very, very hard to do. So I thought the killer, the guy, I thought that was a good payoff. I was like, okay, I can dig the boyfriend. Like that's, and he had a great exchange in his like last battle with, like when Sidney was going through the house looking for him. Like it was cool. Scream 5.
That's my boy, as I've been saying.
The Quaid.
Jack Quaid.
I really liked it. Yes. Randy's niece, over the top, a lot of nod, wink, wink that was a little annoying. But I thought the kills were effective. I thought it really, if you were going to do a Scream film, that was kind of the way to do it and bring it back because, sadly, we don't have Wes Craven anymore.
Yep.
And Kevin Williamson didn't write it. So this was truly a new generation. I thought it was done right. So that Scream 5 is a solid number 4 in the series.
Yeah,
for
and
me.
you did it right when it came out. I think, did you do the same thing for Scream 6? Like you went with your wife, your sister, like got a whole little crew together.
I tried. Scream 6 I did end up having to watch on Paramount Plus.
Okay.
I wanted to go.
For 5, you guys all went out like
we did.
Made a night of it.
Yes.
And that's great. And
yes.
That's what the movie's good. I mean, they're good theater movies. So.
They are great theater movies, great group movies. Like there's movies you can see. Like if you're going to the theater and you're watching The Exorcist together, that's not. I don't need you there to see what's on screen and go along with these characters. Something with Scream, like there's people jumping. It's kind of like that scene in Scream 2 where people are going to see the stab movie for the first time.
Exactly.
That's the kind of atmosphere that you like in a Scream film.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Well, let's go on to the next one.
Yes.
So we're in our top 3. So
top 3.
You already know where I'm at. I've already given enough Scream 3 barking. So I'll just go right to Joe D's, which is Scream 4, which is, I could see anybody, if they were going to be ranking this list, Scream 4 easily could be a top, could be 2 or 3. I can't argue with that. He says, underrated, great rebound after Scream 3. I don't know about the rebound part, but I get what you're saying. 2 straight meh movies could have potentially killed the franchise, but Scream 4 took some chances and helped usher Scream into the modern era of horror. Brutal, funny, entertaining, and subverted expectations. Plus, Hayden effing Pantier. Kirby is Randy reincarnated, and I'm absolutely here for it. Kinda, except Mindy is Randy.
Yeah.
Though they used Hayden Pantier, and then she whatever.
But that was in 2011.
Yeah.
No, I can dig. I get where Joe's coming from.
Yeah, I think if it was, it's just a really good sequel.
Well, you ready for my number 3?
I am,
because this is we all know what's coming in the top 3.
Yeah.
So this is a bit of a wild card. At number 3, I'm going Scream 2. 2. Yes.
All right.
I liked Scream 2 a lot. Timothy Olyphant was
fantastic,
great in that movie. Even Jerry O'Connell. Like, it was... Scream 2 was everything that it needed to be. It was more blood, more like...
Scream 2 is what all of these other Screams are.
Yeah.
It's the real first one into the rest of the franchise.
Yeah.
The 5 after, like, all, like, the 4 after it are all built on the same engine.
Mm-hmm.
Completely self-aware. There's a movie that exists.
Yeah. Such an introduction to what Scream... When Scream 2 came out, it could have been bad. They could have done a lot of things wrong, but they didn't.
Nope.
I thought it was a lot of fun that did... okay, the payoff being a little bit older, seeing the payoff in the killers, I can see how it could be a bit of a stretch. Again, we don't watch horror movies for, like, the plot, and you could poke holes through the plot. Watching it older, it's a little weirder,
mm-hmm.
but back then, it was everything. It was it's the only time I got really, really sad when Randy died. I was really upset.
It hurt.
Yeah.
It was you didn't want it to happen, and I think that's why it's sitting where it is with me. I have the opposite feeling. So,
but Randy gave the rules.
He did.
He was still Randy. R.I.P. goes in Scream 2, but that brings us to number 2.
Right, and so here I am.
Scream 2 is your second favorite Scream film, Joe.
Yeah.
What about Joe D? You have the list?
I do, and that's where JoJo comes already on in. It's Scream 6. Our least is his number 2, which is not surprising the way we talk about movies together. Is he's been a bigger fan of the newer models. Let's see. He says, "Love that we got 2 different versions of the final characters final characters in horror with the Carpenter sisters, the traditional horror final character Tara Carpenter, and modern final character Sam Carpenter. Loved the nods to horror sequels that aren't everyone's favorites. Also loved how they put a twist on the original sequel, Scream 2. This is the scariest Ghostface has ever been and the most brutal. Scream 6 is clever, funny, entertaining, brutal, and keeps you guessing. An excellent whodunit. Plus, Kirby. Enough said." So
he's a big fan.
Somebody saw Remember the Titans and just kept riding that wave. Ew,
oh my gosh.
That's fucked up. I shouldn't have. Yikes.
Come on, man.
Sheesh.
No, that's so Joe D with his different take.
It really is. It's a fair argument. I don't think that's the most brutal Ghostface has ever been.
I don't think so. Well, the kills were more brutal. There was a dismemberment. There was some. I could see it. It was violent.
It was violent.
I just so Joe D's not here to defend himself. We might have to do a Scream 6 live. That may be the one we watch because that's such a different take, Joe D. That's such a different take.
That's what he does. He does it, and he does it well.
All right, Scream. So the cool thing that Joe D points out is actually true. There are a lot of parallels to Scream 2 in Scream 6.
Well, yeah, they're both at colleges. That's all I can pick up on. Like, it's a remake sequel with it. It's very clever.
Yes. Scariest Ghostface has ever been. I know it's the first time I think he used a gun.
5.
Ghostface used a gun in 5?
Don't they the one girl pulls out the gun.
Oh.
She starts shooting instead of stabbing at the end.
Oh man. But she was the girl. She wasn't Ghostface.
She just took off the mask.
But all right. So but this is a bodega and Ghostface is there in the bodega shooting things up.
Okay. Yeah.
So but yeah, I wanted him whoever, I wanted Ghostface to be scarier in Scream 6. But anyway, that's fine. We'll get through that. We'll watch this one. We're going to have to watch this one and dissect it, I think.
Yeah, I mean, the first one opens with someone being disemboweled.
right.
Okay, I'm talking about brutality. It's a pretty good one.
So that brings me to number 2. Joe D was at Scream 6 for number 2. I, of course, you could probably guess, am at Scream 4.
You loved Scream 4.
I loved it.
We saw that in theaters together.
Yes.
And you left very happy.
I was extremely happy.
Yeah.
I thought that it just, for me, it did have everything. Now, if you were to put, I'm not a huge fan of the family storyline, so now we got to add more family members.
Yeah.
This time, Scream 4, for me, it worked. There was a very tense moment where Gale Weathers almost got it. Mm-hmm. In Scream 4, in the barn, I was scared. I was like, oh no, like Gale's going to die.
Yeah.
That got me. And I think our subscribers on YouTube may or may not agree. This will be a fun one to throw out there.
Mm-hmm.
I think the murder in the bedroom across the street, where the kids were they were at Sydney's. Who was it? So Sydney, her aunt, her niece, played by not Julia Roberts, Julia Roberts' niece, Emma Roberts. Yes. So they're all like they're at that house across the street, and you look across, and this girl is getting eviscerated in the window across the street. That was a brutal freaking scene, I thought.
Yeah.
There was some tense.
Once again, great casting.
Yes.
All of them are so well casted.
The cold open where it kind of so Scary Movie made a whole franchise mocking what would start with Scream and then other horror movies, of course. But Scream 4 kind of made a little mockery of that in a good way in its cold open, where it was Anna Paquin and oh my gosh, you're more into pop culture. That she has blonde hair. Forgetting Sarah Marshall. She's Sarah Marshall.
God damn it.
Oh man,
Kristen Bell,
that's it. So the cold open where they're
yeah,
I think Anna Paquin just turns and stabs her.
Yeah,
very very cool. Everything about Scream 4, bringing it into this generation, I thought was perfect. I thought the legacy characters were perfect. I thought the killers, that payoff was really really good. Yes, Hayden Panettiere was really really good. Memorable, like Kirby was a memorable character.
Ed, that was over 10 years ago. I don't know if you could say bring it into this generation, bring it into the last generation.
Well, I think the book would have closed at Scream 3, right? Like if you were going to jump into, so
that's 2000, 11 years later.
Yeah.
That's where you get 4. 11 years later, you get 5.
Yeah.
And 12, 6. It's pretty big gaps, decade gaps.
Big gap. But then, Dewey's the sheriff now. Scream 4 is such an important movie to me. I like it so much, and that's why it's at number 2. And you can guess, you, me, and Joe D, where we are with our number 1s.
We're all it runs the same rule. There's only one franchise where there's a definitive the first one isn't the best one for me.
Right.
Yeah. So everybody, if you've ever heard this show, you got to know what it is, and that's Friday the 13th.
Yes.
And that's even referenced in Scream 5, I think, 5 or 6. I think they throw that in there. And it's also the first question in the first movie of who was the killer.
Right. And Joe, will you admit this? Can we all admit this? Right. We were young at the time when it came out. It came out in 96. Wes Craven.
We've said it a bunch of times. Ghostface is our slasher.
But I see if you agree with me on this.
Mm-hmm.
Did we all learn, me, you, Joe D, did we learn at that moment that Mrs. Voorhees was the killer in the original Friday the 13th?
Yeah.
Did you?
Yeah, a lot of people our age did.
I didn't know. I would have never. If Ghostface had asked me that question in Scream 1, I would have died immediately.
Yeah, I was 12. So we're still pretty fresh. It's like we knew who Jason was. Honestly, The Friday the 13th, I'd only seen the ones that were on UPN 57.
Right.
So that's like Manhattan, Final Chapter.
Yep.
Didn't see the originals for a while. So yeah, I didn't know that.
Yep. Scream 1 is a classic. Yeah. Matthew Lillard, Skeet Ulrich, your favorite. You like to mess with Skeet Ulrich a lot, right?
Did I?
Yeah.
I think I did. I like saying his name.
Yeah. But and those two do the cons together. They do the conventions together, so that's kind of cool. I'm hoping we can meet both of them at some point.
If we ever met Matthew Lillard, I'll lose my shit. I love that guy.
Classic.
Yeah.
Classic. I mean, but it all started here.
Yeah.
It all started with Scream. Neve Campbell. I didn't watch Party of Five. I didn't know who she was, but now
there's the Neve Campbell. It was Neve Campbell versus. God, wow, I'm drawing a blank tonight. I Know What You Did Last Summer. Number 1.
Oh. Jennifer Love Hewitt?
Yeah.
Oh.
That was like a big argument at the boys' lunch table. Once upon a time.
Oh.
You knew who they were.
Yeah, no, I'm trying to. But not Neve Campbell. Like, I didn't watch Party of Five.
I didn't watch it, but I knew who she was.
Like, so Scream comes out in 96.
Yeah.
Okay. So we have anyway, Neve Campbell, Sidney Prescott, the two killers, Skeet Ulrich, Matthew Lillard, Rose McGowan.
Yeah.
I mean, like,
the best part was how they, Drew Barrymore's on the cover. She was on the poster, and she's in it for, 5 minutes.
And I think that's why she agreed to do it.
Yeah.
She read the script. They wanted her for Sidney Prescott.
Yeah.
She read the script. She's like, no, if you put me here, I'll do it. And that was unbelievable because she was the only star.
Yeah. I mean, the movie, it just set the tone as the first one to use cell phones.
Right.
And they've done a great job in the sequels by adding the new technology. So I think texting was a thing in 4, like adding in the texting, and then you got adding in dating apps in 5 and 6, and other apps in 5 and 6. Yeah, overall, it's a strong, fun franchise. Probably benefits from being technology based.
Yep.
And then having those big gaps, so it's able to stay with it, never really overkilled itself.
No. And it keeps you guessing.
Yeah.
Like, I remember back when I first saw it, Big Ed was trying to guess. He's like, okay, the sheriff was wearing the boots.
Yeah.
Like, it was really as Joe D put it earlier, like a whodunit. I was young. I didn't think of, oh my gosh, who's the killer? And then you got Dewey, David Arquette looking the flashlight in the commercial.
Yeah.
And it's just like, oh, it's got to be that guy. That guy's the killer, easily.
Yeah.
And it just introduced me to so much horror trivia that it's everything. Scream 1 is number 1.
It is.
There's no question about it.
It's one of our all-time favorites.
Yep.
There's no doubt about it. I think it's, it was like the rebirth of Wes Craven.
Yes.
He had some. We enjoyed most of his stuff, but he had ones that really weren't.
No, he
taking off post Freddy.
He didn't hit for a little while.
Yeah, I mean, like Wishmaster was Wes Craven, right?
Wishmaster was, but that was also after Scream. So, and I like Wishmaster. It just didn't.
Oh
age.
wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was, wasn't it? Yeah.
It just didn't. It was seeing all those horror legends in one.
Yeah.
In one place was pretty damn cool.
Yeah. I always forget how old Scream is.
So do I.
It's just timeless to me.
It brought horror back.
It brought the slasher genre back.
No question about it.
Absolutely. It's just a wonderful flick.
So
that really broke the 80s brand slasher.
Yeah. So the stuff I know, again, I always say it. I love Jason 6, Jason Lives. That's all fun. There's a time and a place for that. Scream brought everything back in just such a tremendous way at that era. Even some of the music and some of the references, not the horror movie trivia I'm talking about, but
oh, dude, I mean, it's got the mix of everything you could want. Having like Henry Winkler in there as he's the principal, right? And
yes,
he gets strung up.
Yeah.
I mean, it's fantastic, and we've gone over it 100 times when we've said, when we asked what does Scream mean to you, and it means a lot to us, especially as fans of the horror genre, especially the slasher movies.
Yep.
But before we wrap things up, what was your copycat? Because I need to know.
Okay. Before I get to that, what was Joe's part? Did you read Joe D's different take? Scream 1 is obviously number 1 to him.
Yeah, Scream 1's number 1 to him. Scream 6 was his number 2.
Okay. But did you read?
Should I read his Scream 1? Yeah, I guess so, Joe. I'll be fair to you.
Yeah, we'll just
it's
just
be like, we all agree on this one. Scream, the original. This is what he says. The original classic set the standard. Randy is all of us and so much fun to watch. Plus Matthew fucking Lillard as Stu is legendary.
And so, and thank you for reminding me about the copycat. I just wanted to see what Joe D had to say about that, and he's right. Randy was all of us. Matthew Lillard as Stu is legendary. So before Scream 5 came out, and they were teasing pictures, like they were trying to throw us off the track so bad in the era of YouTube videos. They were trying to throw us off. So there was this picture of Matthew Lillard with the messed up face, like as if a TV had been dropped on his face.
Yeah.
So I did not like Scream 6. If you brought Matthew Lillard back with the messed up face as Stu in the 7th one, I'd be all in.
At this point, why not?
Exactly.
I mean, it's like the Fast and the Furious movies. It just doesn't matter how ridiculous it gets.
After 6,
yeah,
it's like, you know what? Please,
let's go for it. Go for it.
He didn't die. Yeah. Stu is still alive, and now he's hunting these kids.
Yeah.
So anyway, the copycat story for you was that was one of the concepts for Halloween 20 years later.
That would have been perfect.
That was one of the concepts, was that obviously we follow Jamie Lee Curtis was coming back. She was playing Laurie Strode 20 years later on this campus, on this what do they call those schools? Boarding schools? Mm-hmm. Well, the elite private boarding school or whatever. So she's the headmistress, and all that stuff would have been fine. LL Cool J would have been in it. Like, all would have been great. But the thing is,
if you hate H2O, you can blame Scream.
Right, yeah. So one of the concepts that they actually rode pretty far into the process was that it was going to be a copycat killer on campus, and it was one of the 4. It was Charlie, the guy who played the
friend.
The friend, yes.
That would have been perfect.
Wouldn't that have been good?
Really good.
That would have been, I thought so too.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, like the David Gordon Green trilogy, it's like if you flipped it and had that Corey dude in the first one, and he was the podcaster or whatever, like something like, there's just,
I know. We can always bring it back to Halloween.
Yeah, but anyway, that's
so H2O though would have been. I thought that would have been cool. I think ultimately Jamie Lee Curtis is like, hey, if I'm coming back and we're gonna do this, let's do it right. I'm fighting Michael.
Yeah.
So
there you have it.
That's ultimately what happened.
There you have it.
And another nugget, not on the copycat front, but if you listen to H2O, the music is exactly the same as, I think it's Scream 2. Mm-hmm. Scream 1 or 2, like Marco Beltrami did the music. Dimension Films, they didn't even care.
They didn't invest that deep.
No, they used it. So you can literally, I think actually, I have to go back and listen. Yeah. I think Joe D even said that. It's just like it's the same.
I got to go back and redo. I recorded the entire episode of me talking about horror soundtracks and the actual music.
Ooh.
And the composers and everything that went behind it, and I had audio, and then the audio was only going through my headphones. It was not recording, right. So the whole thing went tits up. So all right, try that one again.
Well, that'll be one of the Red River Hard deep cuts. But Joe, this has been a lot of fun. I've wanted to rank the Scream films for a very long time, and I was very excited.
Yeah, it's such a gem. I can't change I just don't change the order, and it doesn't mean that they progressively get worse.
Nope.
They just progress.
Yep.
That's the best way I can describe it.
And I'm gonna watch Scream 6 again. Didn't really like it, but I'm gonna watch it again. We'll see what happens.
Yeah. So, yeah, it's it's time. Sometimes they're just a little too long.
Right.
That's all. Maybe it's a little shorter. Anywho, anything else we got to say to the folks?
No. Thank you to our new subscribers on YouTube. You can find us there. Yes, of course, Apple, Spotify. Leave us a review. Give us a follow.
Yep.
A like. All that fun stuff wherever you can. But most notably, I noticed a little bit of traction there on YouTube. So we're connecting with some new folks, and I'm really excited about that. So welcome welcome to the channel, the podcast, whatever you want to call it. And thank you to Joe D for participating as well, since Joe, yours was literally just...
I'm sorry. I didn't want to disappoint you and actually like try and like be a dick and go down it one in a row. So I was like,
it's all good.
I'm going to get this out and just be honest from the start. So this has been episode number 95 of the Red River Horror Podcast. Of course, you can find us on all those platforms. Hit the bell, hit the subscribe, everything, whatever. And you know what you got to do? You got to remember to keep traveling those channels of fear.